Okay. Okay. A few more people joining us. Hi, Stephen. Oh my gosh, hopefully you are surviving the New York freeze. I'm I'm based in Vancouver, so us West Coast have been having a very opposite weather experience too. All of the
Yeah.
East Side. I have lots of family and friends, yeah, in Ontario and Toronto.
Oh, we would have loved to show you some sunshine as a change of scenery, but it's 8 p.m. here, so it's already dark. Unfortunately, no Ugandan sunshine to warm you up.
We'll have to come visit. That's what we should be doing in January and February.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about this more in a few minutes.
Oh my gosh, Brandy. Virtual school, the ice and cold. Wow.
Aye, aye,
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Oh, Kelly, love that everyone's using the chat. Please continue to use the chat. We'll do a quick intro. I'm going to be multitasking, letting everybody in as well. We are recording this, so we will share this afterwards, so that if there's anything you want to go back to, or if you have to jump at any point, no problem. But welcome, welcome. My name is Stephanie Piano, and I am the Trade Partnerships Manager at By Iris. And I am so excited to have our client Matoke Tours Africa here with us. So they are a locally owned DMC based in Uganda, and they offer tailor-made adventures across both Uganda and Rwanda. So online, we have Anna, who is the director and co-owner, and she's going to be presenting. And then in the background hanging out is Sven, and he's the sales manager. Um, so our format today is going to be about 30 minutes. Anna will take you through her presentation, and then we'll have about 15 minutes at the end for a live Q&A. So if you have any questions you want to save up for then, great. If there's something that pops into your mind right away, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'm going to be managing the chat and keeping track of any questions that come up that we can get answered at the end. So, without further ado, Anna, I will hand it over to you to take it away.
Thank you so much, Steph. Just like a really, really warm welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for being here today and taking time off your busy day to come and join us and listen in to let us tell you about what we love about Uganda and how we offer great experiences to our travelers. So I just really want you to invite you today to look at Uganda with fresh eyes, think about how is this something that you would like to offer? Is it something that could work for you and your clients? And then we'll be happy to inspire you and take it from there and see how we can support you in including it in your portfolio if you're not offering it yet. So I'm just going to start by sharing my little presentation for today. Um, Here we go. Are we all good seeing my screen? Yes. Okay. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Anna Grodzki. Steph already gave me a little intro. So I'm the managing director based in our Kampala office. I have been in Uganda for the last 15 years. I usually like to share that coming to Uganda was my very, very first trip to Africa. Um, and yeah, clearly I fell in love with it and felt so welcomed that I decided to stay. I like sharing this anecdote because it really captures for me how welcoming and warm and like focused on connection this country is. This has really been my experience for the last 15 years, and I really see so many people who come and travel with us have the same experience, which is just something I think we are all looking for when we travel. Um, what stayed with me really was oh my God, I went to the end of my presentation. Just a second. How did this happen? We're off to a good start. Okay, at least I could check that all the slides are still there. So coming from me after my 15 years in Uganda, Matoke is actually celebrating 20 years this year. So it's a big year for all of us here. And in these 20 years, we have really grown with the tourism sector here. As a DMC, it has been a very rewarding journey, seeing it from where it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, and how much Uganda has developed, offering like a depth and breadth of experience, which we weren't able to offer before, how much infrastructure has improved, how much we have options for amazing cultural encounters, options in terms of accommodation, and just generally how tourism has been growing and thriving, and how people who are part of the tourism sector here have been enjoying receiving visitors. So our main office, as I mentioned, is in Kampala. We do operate in Uganda and Rwanda. This is an intentional decision on our end. We had many requests for expanding and also entering into partnerships in East Africa and other African destinations, but we do really believe that we want to offer experiences where we are based on ground. Like we just really have a footprint here. We have very strong networks. We are connected to our local suppliers. We are connected to the authorities. We really personally know the people who make each journey possible. And we also have a strong network of people who can help us sort out things if anything needs to be fixed while people are on ground with us. So over the years, we've hosted over 15,000 travelers who experienced Uganda and Rwanda with us. So that has really given us, I want to say, a very good experience in handling everything, working with different partners, and just being able to, yeah, to say like we are one of the longest standing DMCs in Uganda. And at the heart of what we do is really our principle of we know we benefit so much from being here, from the natural resources, from how welcoming people are, from the amazing national parks. So at the core of what we do really is that we want to offer experiences which are unforgettable to the traveler and create connections for them which last, but also each of our experiences really need to show our care and respect for the destination and its people. There we go. A little bit about us as a in a yeah, in a nutshell, we do work B2B only. We just want to make sure we give our partners the right set of services. It's just very different than working B2C. So we decided maybe around 7 years ago to pivot to only B2B and focus only on that. If you work with us, you'll have your dedicated travel consultant. They will really understand how you work, how your business works, who your clients are, what is important to you. Do you have concept itineraries? Do you like highlight tours? What other destinations do you offer and how do we fit in? So that personal approach is very important to us. We support you with your itinerary design and with net quotations, although other arrangements are also possible. We have 24/7 emergency assistance while your clients are traveling with us. We have a great network of amazing guides. We do our own trainings as well, including for female guides, to make sure that we even out the playing field a little bit more and give more women the opportunity to have a voice and be part of the narrative of the destination. We have a strong on-ground network. We give you access to our Matoke Academy, which is a platform we developed because we see, of course, that destination knowledge is a very important part of onboarding a new destination. So this is a series of self-paced courses which complement the one-on-one service that we give you. And I want to also proudly mention that we have a couple of award-winning initiatives that create meaningful positive change, like said female tour guide training, for example. So Uganda and Rwanda are our two destinations. You can see here on the map the difference in size already. So just briefly about the positioning. Rwanda is a great compact destination with a very big focus on guerrilla tourism indeed, targeting mainly high-end clients. They are very specific in that as well. A great extension, for example, to a safari experience in another destination. A quick, kind of seamless experience focused on gorillas. Uganda, you can already see it in size, much bigger, much more diversity when it comes to landscapes. Also gives you more room to play when it comes to designing itineraries. We just have like a broader range to work with when it comes to cultural experiences. There are 54 tribes in Uganda, for example, so every region that you would look at provides a very, very different immersive experience. We have massive diversity of landscapes. So within a trip of maybe 12 days, you can go from vast savanna plains to rolling tea plantations to crater lakes to savanna plains and gorges. And finally, like mountains and volcano ranges in the south. So you really have a lot to work with here. And also when it comes to the level of accommodation, while Rwanda is more higher priced because they are targeting the high-end market, Uganda also gives you the option to put together a very nice mid-range tour if this suits your client's budget. So today, of course, we are focusing on Uganda only. I just want to mention that many of our clients also like to combine the two countries. I think it's around 35% of our trips combine the two countries with possibly a fly into Entebbe and fly out of Kigali. So it's kind of a seamless experience as well. This is in particular for people who would like to experience gorillas in both countries. But today the focus is on Uganda because we are focusing as well on the farm trip that we had in October. Um, so so this is going to be what we are going to talk about today. Just briefly on the timing as well, we have seen really interest in Uganda peaking in the last years, or maybe I should say spiking. Like year on year, we have experienced growth for as long as we can think, actually, since the company was established. But really, in the last 5 years, that process has been accelerated so much. And I usually like to say, really feel like we are in this sweet spot right now where we have experienced so much development in terms of infrastructure, available accommodation options, service level throughout, just everything that ensures comfort on your tour. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like an overcrowded destination at all. So you can really still have this experience of a very exclusive tour without having to experience more cars than animals in the park. So it's still something which feels like very genuine and special. So really, we like to say like the time to book Uganda is now, because we really do see how this process is picking up and it's going to become busier and busier. So just to give you an example on how a Uganda tour could look in practice, I'm going to take you through our farm trip itinerary from October. So this is a relatively short trip, I would want to say. It's 7 to 8 days, and it's a fly-in tour just to minimize on the driving times, and it focuses on the three main highlights, I would say, on the west southern route, which is Murchison Falls National Park, Queen Elizabeth National Park, and Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. So we are going to take you from safari to chimp experience to gorilla trekking and back. So day one usually begins in Entebbe. This is where the international airport is located. We have different accommodation options that we offer here, depending on what your clients would prefer. Either we go for hotel number 5 in Entebbe, just a short 10-minute drive away from the airport. So really the easiest option, very comfortable, quick transfer, just like to have a soft landing after the long flight. For clients who prefer already a more nature-based experience, there's Entebbe Forest Lodge, very spacious cottages in the middle of a very, very green forest on the shores of Lake Victoria. So already you are beginning with with a fresh, nice experience in the middle of nature. And latitude 0 in Kampala, maybe a 45-minute away from the international airport, but definitely worth the drive. I really like this option because it gives you already a little bit of an impression of how vibrant Kampala is, but without overwhelming you, maybe with too much of the hustle and bustle and traffic and crowds that you would experience downtown. So this is located on one of the calmer hills of Kampala. You have a lot of green around. You see the thousands of sparkling lights at night, and you will also probably come across in the restaurant or in one of the bars yeah, some Kampalans who just come out to enjoy a cocktail or a dinner, which can also be a nice experience to get a little bit of a feel for urban life here. So there are different options depending on what your clients would like. So after day one, we get started with the real safari experience. In terms of transport, we have different options. Our farm trip was a fly-in trip, so we opted to work with Aerolink, who offer scheduled flights. We also have another provider we work with, Kampala Executive Aviation, who focus more on charters. That's both plane and helicopter. And of course, the standard option would be the extended safari vehicle, as you know it from other destinations as well. Actually, for the last bit of our farm trip, we opted to do a mix because it was easier for us to do a transfer, also see a little bit like how this would work, and then fly back to really cut down on the very long journey times. So around a 1 hour, 15-minute flight takes you to Murchison Falls National Park. In comparison, that would be maybe, depending on the accommodation you're staying at, that would be maybe a 6 hour drive. So indeed, the domestic flight might be worth it, cut down on time. On your first day in Uganda, we have two lodges that we work here for the more high-end accommodation. That's Nile Safari Lodge and Papa's Camp. Nile Safari Lodge, beautifully designed and built, just really fits into its environment beautifully. It's in the more busy part of Murchison Falls, on the northern bank. It's right on the River Nile, where you can start your boat safaris toward the waterfalls. Many options for customized experiences. Sundowners can be set up for your clients anywhere. You can have a nice sundowner on the top of the falls. You are close to the airstrip. Yeah, you're really like in the middle of where everything is happening. And then in contrast to that, Papa's Camp, this is where we stayed in October, which was a great experience as well. They are on the southern bank of Murchison Falls National Park. They are the only property located there. So in our more than 2 days there, we did not see one other tourist vehicle. We did not see one other tourist. They are really the only lodge there. They put in a lot of work into setting up tracks for game drives. They have agreements with the Wildlife Authority on how to take care of this part of the park. So yeah, we had amazing lion sightings. We were with a pride of 14 lions. We saw them climbing on trees, lazing in the sun. We really had an amazing private experience, feeling a little bit more adventurous maybe than the cottages of Nile Safari Lodge in the tented camp of Papa's, with impeccable service. So it was a really great experience for us. These are some impressions of the famous Murchison Falls. So you can do a boat safari going up to the bottom of the falls. You can do a walk up to see it from different angles. Again, you will not find many other people there at the same time. We can set up a nice sundowner for you, a brunch. Basically, everything is customizable and possible. And this is a little bit of the wildlife impressions. The picture on the right is from our farm trip. We were just driving towards the trees with the lions there. Yeah, it was just a really nice experience. And after Murchison Falls, which is already ticking many boxes, especially for first-time travelers to Africa, but maybe also for more experienced travelers, another flight of 1.5 hours took us to Queen Elizabeth National Park. So completely different landscape. Just coming back to what I had said before, you see the beautiful crater lakes on the right, the salt lakes in Queen Elizabeth. And on the picture on the left, you see the savanna plains of Queen. In the background, it's not so visible because it's a bit cloudy, but that's the Rwenzori Mountains, the mystical mountains of the moon, as they are called as well. And what you see going through the middle is Chambora Gorge. So it's just this really incredible ecosystem in its own. It's like as if, yeah, the ground had split and there's this jungle just like coming up to where you're looking at it. And this is where we do the chimp trekking from, which I'm going to tell you about. But first, on the accommodations, River Station is a great option in Queen Elizabeth National Park, similar to Papa's, in a very, very secluded area of the park. You will not find any other tourists there. On the left, you see the cottages. They are spacious. You have an amazing sitting area, your own plunge pool. The restaurant area is beautiful, located right on the water. So while you're taking your breakfast or enjoying your sundowner cocktail, you already be able to see loads of hippos that come out to graze in the night. You'll see elephants, you'll see buffaloes, basically without even having to go on any activity or to sit in the car for a game drive. As an alternative, we also work with Chambora Gorge Lodge a lot. They are in a different place. They are located right at the gorge. Why we love working with them is they are really working very well with the local communities. They have a number of great initiatives on how they have set up activities together with the local communities. So during our stay, we visited a local women's coffee cooperative. We had a talk behind the scenes with a lion researcher who works for Timbura Gorge Lodge as well. They're doing amazing work when it comes to conservation. So it really gives you an idea of the impact that tourism generally has and that you have by staying in that lodge. So also a really, really nice option. Here are some impressions. This is on the left us during our farm trip while we were enjoying our sundowner dhow ride, which was taking us for another sundowner when we had some more animal sightings. So we really had a nice time, safe to say. Here you see the elephants that you would see during the boat safari. Here's some more impressions of wildlife. We did a game drive again with a team of researchers, which really allowed us to, to track leopards and lions as well, to understand a little bit more how conservation works, to learn a little bit more about human-wildlife conflict and how it is mitigated. So for anyone who's interested in knowing more, understanding the context a little bit more, having more of a behind the scenes feel, this would be an option that we would recommend. And then coming to the chimpanzee tracking, I know sometimes the gorillas take the spotlight when it comes to the trekking experiences in Uganda, but I would really want to also make a case for the chimps. It's just such a different experience. I feel it's not talked about enough how different their energy levels are as well as the gorillas. You have to imagine are heavy and majestic and gentle lions, not giants, not lions. And chimps, in comparison, are very, very active and loud and playful. And it's just a very different experience. It's so nice to be able to do both in a short amount of time and see the similarities, but also the differences. And so the trekking is done in Chambura Gorge. So you basically hike down into this gorge that we saw in one of the previous pictures. Two trekkers go ahead who know where the chimps slept last night, so they follow the tracks as they inform you and your guide which route to take. So the hike in itself is already beautiful. And then you would expect maybe after an hour's hike or so to come closer to the chimps at the bottom of the gorge and be able to spend around 1 hour, maybe 1.5 with them. Our experience was a little bit different because we were literally just taking the first corner to start going down in the gorge, and some chimps already came up to us and literally walked past us. We were not completely not prepared for this experience, so it was it was really, really special. It took us by surprise. And yeah, it was an amazing start of the chimp trekking for us. Our ranger, I have to say, was like especially knowledgeable on this trip. Like he really made sure to explain to us the behaviors. It was really fascinating, although I had done it before. Even this time, it was fascinating to me to hear again, like about how chimps live in communities, how similar they are to us as well, and how we live in our societies. The ranger was explaining to us how the chimps have a voting system, who becomes the new alpha, like that females, senior females, have 70% of the votes of who becomes the new alpha versus the other males who have 30%, like just to safeguard, so to say, that they feel the mature women make a better decision when it comes to leadership, but also how every part of the group, like every member of the group, has to be behind the decision. So there were just so many aspects that are just so fascinating because on the one hand, you see them and they are, yeah, of course, primal and it's such a wildlife experience. On the other hand, it really makes you think like how similar we actually are, even in how we live in our groups and societies. I'm going to skip the, oh, there's something with the video, but at least the audio I think should have worked. We might skip that, but when we share the presentation, feel free to listen to our chimp sounds a little bit. But from chimps, I'll jump straight to our next stop, which was Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, where the heart of the trip for most travelers happens, which is the gorilla tracking. So you see the map here. Each one of the colorful pins stands for one gorilla family. So each family can be tracked by a maximum of 8 packs per group. Our group during the farm trip, for example, was six. So, of course, we all stayed together, and then two people were added to our group so that we make a group of eight. After a hike of maybe 1 to 4 hours, depending on how far the gorillas are from where they slept, how long it takes the trackers to find them, and also how difficult the hike is. Yeah, it could be a longer, like almost a half-day hike, or it could be a relatively short hike, and then the experience with the gorillas. It's always 1 hour that you are allowed to be face to face with the gorillas. There's also the gorilla habituation permit in comparison for $1,500. It's only 4 packs per group and you get 4 hours of observing. But the difference is that these groups are just in the process of being habituated. You go with researchers. So that means they are less used to humans. Like the group we tracked on this trip, for example, is just very, very used to humans. So that means they will not try to maybe run away. Like they don't really mind us, or maybe they find us amusing a little bit as well as their visitors. So it can also make for a nicer experience, even if you are in a bigger group and just have 1 hour. But usually you get more interaction, less hiking. Um, Coming to the accommodation, before we dive back into the trekking bit, we stayed at Gorilla Forest Lodge. It's an A&K property. They took over, I think, around 2 years ago and refurbished a previously existing property. It's really beautiful and wonderful what they have done with this place. I was also very happy to hear that they took on all of the staff who was working in the previous lodge, really made sure they got more opportunities to train, to raise the service level. So yeah, it also ticked our boxes in terms of partners and accommodation that we want to work with. And as an alternative, Bwindi Lodge, a little bit of a different vibe, but closer to um, some options where you can do nature walks, again, with a very big focus on conservation and impact. So also a very good option to choose. And here I will try to show you a little video of how the trekking looked like. This is our group during the farm trip. So sometimes you hike through the forest, sometimes you go more through fields which are around or tea plantations. It's really difficult to say. It's quite interesting how people react to something in their itinerary which they can't fully control. I feel we are so used to controlling every outcome and experience, of course, and we also want to be able to manage expectations, but there is a certain thrill to it that you can, the range of a hike will be 1 hour or 4 hours is quite a big range if you really want to be able to know what is awaiting you. So there's really like this thrill in the air on like, oh, what is going to happen tomorrow and how is our experience going to be, which really just contributes to the experience. And I'm going to play this for you if it works. So this was our tracking during the farm trip. This was when we had just approached the gorillas for the first time. They were having a little rest over there. So you see the different family members. You have to keep a distance of 7 meters, but sometimes the gorillas choose to come closer to you. Then you're just supposed to stand still, not interact with them and not disturb them. Like you can see here, there was this mama and baby and a young gorilla as well. It's just yeah, I think a video can't fully even like you can't explain how it feels to have a wild animal in their natural habitat this close to you. Like it's just a once in a lifetime experience, really, and very moving. This one doesn't want to walk, so decided to climb. Meanwhile, we were all standing there super excited and trying not to move and not to make any squeaking noises when we saw the babies. And there's also a more senior member. Okay. And everyone making space for the silverback, of course. Yeah, just to give you a little impression how this looked. After this, yeah, as I said, you get a full hour with the gorillas. So we followed them where they went, of course, like keeping our distance. So we still had the opportunity to see how they were feeding. They kind of split up a little bit. So also our group split up a little. We had rangers and individual porters with us. So it also allowed for our group to yeah, follow different gorillas a little bit and then come together at the end. 1 hour kind of to me always feels like it's much longer because it's just, yeah, it's just a very special experience. Oh. So for the rest of the day, we never plan other activities, even if it would be possible. But it's just something that you just want to go back and take it all in and kind of recap it for yourself. Often this is something people have been waiting for so long, so we like to give them the space just to process it for themselves. I think for all of us, it was more of a spa afternoon and then debrief at a nice dinner together. Then finally, on the last day, we wouldn't want to leave Bwindi without also interacting with the local community a little bit. This is a really amazing organization we work with, Right for Women. Evelyn, the founders on the second picture. So they offer a range of different activities. She has really made such a huge difference in her community by providing a safe space for women to start their own little businesses or to earn money in the tailoring workshop. And we chose to do a local food experience. So really, they took us in their vegetable garden. We picked our greens and leaves, and they showed us how to grind millet and how to pound the G-nuts, which songs you sing while doing it. Like really food as an entry point to culture and yeah, just like a way of life. And also a very, very nice way to interact with people in a nice way, just have conversations and just spend some time together and share a meal, which is really, really meaningful. And this was the end of the trip. We took a flight back to Entebbe, and most of our participants flew out the same day. So the time really flew by. But for a short itinerary like this, we really tried to show the range of what Uganda has to offer, from safari to chimps to gorillas to cultural and community experiences. And we don't have the dates for our next farm trip yet, but if you're interested, we are going to share a link with you to sign up for our interest list. And we will keep you posted once the dates are set so that you can apply if you would like to join us. And just to end, here's just one slide with a few impressions on the mid-range accommodations, starting from Jurago Treetops in Chibale Forest on the left to Moya Lodge in the middle. We have Mutanda up in the corner with the beautiful volcano range and the volcano lake, Mihingo and Lake Mburo and Mahogany Springs. So this is, yeah, way more accessible financially, I want to say. So if your clients have a smaller budget that doesn't allow for a high-end trip, we can still put together a very, very nice itinerary for them. And lastly, also wanted to mention, because this question came up, we don't usually offer join-in tours, but we did pilot this particular one. This is our traveling sisterhood safari, we call it. We started this just like in the pandemic time, I want to say. We came together with some colleagues and kind of just started thinking like, where would we want to go now? Like, what do we miss most? Because we can't travel and we can't spend time with people. So this is really an itinerary that was created from that point of view. Like, what are our favorite things to do in Uganda and how would we want to experience them? To go out there and, see wildlife and do things, but also have enough time to connect with others about it. Yeah, and the sentiment has really stayed with us, and this trip has become so popular that we also started to offer it as a join-in, so that especially solo female traveler, but also smaller groups of women who want to travel with others can take this adventure together. So just wanted to highlight this here as well. Yeah, and lastly, just to say, thank you for listening and for seeing Uganda through our eyes a little bit. If it sounds interesting to you, we would really love to support you to offer Uganda to your clients. We are very happy to support you with knowledge, with product knowledge. We can set up an onboarding call. We can set up a call just like to explore what are the things that you find interesting, what are you looking for, and would we be a good fit? And I'm going to end with that. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Anna. That was a great presentation. Um, so we've got time for Q&A now. I know that Sven's been answering some questions in the chat about the bird watching and the birding in Uganda, and also about white labeling the trips. Um, Christine has a question about what would be the budget ranges for a mid-range and to a luxury range.
Yeah. So between group, I think like the average for mid-range, but that is including groups and FITs, is around 4,500 euros, I would say. So probably I would say something around 7 to 8,000 for an FIT, which would be mid-range. However, we are able to really customize it. We can make it shorter. We can, see like where we really want to highlight accommodation and where we can maybe, choose a simpler accommodation which still has a great location. So there's a lot of flexibility there. We'll be able to share with you some example tours. We can add a mid-range tour as well, just so that you see the range that we are talking about.
Perfect. Yeah, we can send that as follow-up of some details there. And then, Carolyn, you want some sisterhood safari, traveling sisterhood safari information? We can also share that. Christine's
Okay.
wondering about how many nights would you recommend? And so maybe you can kind of
Yeah.
elaborate on that. Obviously varies what people are looking for, but
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say what we looked at right now would be kind of the minimum if it's not a gorilla extension. Gorilla, let's say fly-in extension. If you have a Kenya or Tanzania traveler, then the minimum we can do is like really 3 nights. That's the bare minimum. But for a Uganda tour, I would say what we just looked to at least have like the two national parks in Bwindi would be great. We could maybe look at 6 if we are really pressed for time. We are quite spoiled with some of our travelers who have really 18 days or 21 days. I think our average is 15 actually, but then we are also able to offer, a much bigger circuit. So yeah, I would say 8 is something we can definitely happily work with and know that we have really put in everything that makes Uganda special.
does anybody have questions that they want to jump in with, or they can go off mute or off or on camera? Okay, well, oh, perfect. Can you share your partnership model? Do you offer commission?
Yes. So let's say our standard or our go-to is that we share net rates, but we are very flexible. So we do have partners who have particular requirements. We can offer commission for sure. We can. So if we have an onboarding call, or a first call to get to know each other, we can discuss all those requirements, and yeah, we'll be as flexible as we can with you for sure.
And how long was the fam trip?
I see. I was already replying. Yeah, it was 7 nights, 7 nights, 8 days.
Well, we'll see if, as more people are jumping with questions, is there anything, just maybe like some highlights for Rwanda, since we didn't do a deeper dive into it today?
Yeah, absolutely. So often, if we combine maybe Uganda and Rwanda, just to start with that, we would add, if it's just a gorilla experience, we would add 3 more days to a Uganda itinerary. Because if you remember the map, the gorilla trekking in Uganda takes place in the very south, so you are very close to the border with Rwanda. Already. So then you would cross the border, spend the night there, do a gorilla trekking, maybe drive to Kigali, the capital city, to have a little bit more of an urban experience, community experience, and then fly out from there. Many of the airlines that operate here have on each flight a stop in Entebbe and in Kigali. So that's, for example, KLM or Brussels Airlines, Turkish Airlines. So it's very, very easy to book a flight like this, and it's quite a seamless experience. If we offer a Rwanda itinerary only, then we would of course include the gorillas. We would probably include safari in Akagera National Park, which is also an amazing experience. And we often have quite active or more adventurous travelers as well. And we have the Congo Nile Trail, which is an amazing stretch, which you can hike, kayak, or bike, or do a combination of all three in a very easy way. So really, within 5, 6 days, you already also get quite a diverse experience within Rwanda without having to drive long distances as well. So that is definitely a big plus that we can highlight here too.
Great. Any other questions?
Then maybe I can still take the opportunity to just say a little bit more about our partnerships and about product development as well. So we do have a very broad range of partners that we work with. What is usually important to us is like alignment on what kind of tourism do we want to offer. Like I said, like responsible practices are very important to us. But when it comes to product development, we really have a broad range of experiences. So this trip here that we presented was, of course, very much like a highlight reel of Uganda, which is already great and gives you a great impression. But we also work with partners who have very specific like concept itineraries, for example. So this could be women-focused travel, where yeah, we book a female guide, we book female rangers, we maybe try to support female-owned lodges as well, depending on what your causes are and how you want your product to look like. We have slow travel. We are just developing an itinerary for a new partner who just wants to stay for 10 days in one place. Or maybe if it's 14 days, then it's just two locations, and I just want to get the most out of that and really understand the park, the ecosystem, the communities around it. So really going in depth instead of trying to tick several boxes. We have very active partners as well who offer maybe cycling trips around Uganda. So we have different options there. We have cultural immersions where someone wants to, let's say, spend a couple of nights in the kraal in a traditional village with huts, where we have, like a peek on how people live traditionally, but also a lot of like hiking and a lot of outdoor and nature immersions. So the entire range is really possible. We have an amazing network of experts that we work with as well. So from conservationists to really local providers of cultural experiences, anything that you would like. I would want to say nothing is impossible. And if it is, then we will also tell you and not promise you that we can do something that is not possible. So we are also always staying realistic about it, but we will definitely search far and wide within our expert network to make sure whatever it is that you stand for as a company or whatever your clients really want who came to you to book with you, that we can make it possible.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Any final questions, comments? Okay, well, I think yeah, I think I agree. I think like you've shared so much, so many insights. Thank you so much, Anna and Sven, for taking us through this, answering questions. To everybody who's joined, as I mentioned, we've got this recorded. We'll send a follow-up. We'll share this recording. We'll share the questions and answers, further information, about the traveling sisterhood safaris and the presentation. So we'll provide you all the resources and also the contact information for Anna and Sven, so you can get in touch with both of them to, have any further conversations or calls to dive deeper into anything.
Yeah.
Oh, another question. Is a
I'm seeing
hike
it.
doable for most travelers, or is there a minimum fitness level?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question, Kim. That's indeed like, a big concern for people as well when they hear hike and several hours and you don't know how it will go. So I just like to say we had, I would say, a broad spectrum of fitness levels, even within our group of 8. And that's going to be accommodated within the group. So you really go with such a big support system. You have your rangers, everyone takes an individual porter to help you with carrying your backpack, even if you feel you can carry your backpack yourself. But it's really also an important initiative for people from the community. They get the opportunity once a month to come on and earn $20 for doing this. So we always recommend doing that. But everyone has an individual support person as well. And there's, of course, security and other people around. So what happened in our group, for example, we had 2 people who were a little bit slower. And then it's possible for their porters and one of the rangers to stay behind with them a little bit go at their own pace. So no one is going to be left behind just because there are people who are more fit in that group. So people are really going to go out of their way to accommodate you when you came for this experience, and make sure that you also have a good gorilla sighting. So I can just say this worked really, really well in our group in October as well.
A great question. Okay, great. Well, Anna, Sven, if if there's anything you want to wrap up with or share, um, do please do so.
Yeah, we just like to say thank you so much for all the positive comments in the chat. Of course, like I wasn't reading throughout, but now I just came through. So thank you so much for being so positive. And again, I know like we are all sometimes webinar fatigued and we get so much input and we are so busy. So I really appreciate everyone who made the time to join in and listen to our presentation. And we would love to connect with you afterwards as well. Thank you so much for today.
Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. And I'm happy to jump on a call if you're ready, whenever you're ready to discuss it further.
Have a wonderful day. We'll send some follow-ups after. Thank you.
Everyone, bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.